portion of the 2024. Oh, we'll try that again with the recording. Good evening, CKI, and welcome to the Caucus of the Whole portion of the 2024 International Convention. It is my pleasure to officially call this session to order, and we'll ding we'll pretend that it's a gong. As you know, we have officially nominated individuals to serve as candidates for the office of International President, International Vice President, and International Trustee. This evening, we'll hear from them directly about why they're running and what their visions are for the future of CKI. Here's how this caucus of the whole will work for those candidates who are running here on the call. First, each nominated candidate will make individual presentations and answer questions selected by the Elections Committee. No other candidate seeking the same office will be permitted to be in the room while another is speaking. They'll be placed into breakout rooms. Presidential and vice presidential candidates will be given up to 4 minutes to speak. This includes up to an optional 1-minute introduction. Presidential and vice presidential candidates will then be asked the same pre-selected questions. A maximum of 3 questions will be asked for up to 3 minutes, whichever limit is reached first. Trustee candidates will get up to 3 minutes to speak, inclusive of 1 minute of an optional introduction as well. And they will get the same 3 questions. Well, they will get different 3 questions, but they will get 3 questions or 3 minutes, whichever one comes first. International Vice President Katie Lynch will be the official timekeeper. So with 30 seconds remaining, she will virtually raise her hand to notify the speaker. When the time has elapsed, she will ring the bell. Speaker should stop speaking immediately once the bell is rung. You'll not be allowed to speak over that. So the order of candidate presentations will be in alphabetical order by position. So we'll go presidential candidate, vice presidential candidates, and then trustee candidates. So before the candidates address the membership, they will need to be nominated and seconded for their respective office. When nominating or seconded, please state your full name and home club. We'll start with candidates for president and move on to vice president and trustee. I now open the floor for nominations for the office of International President.
L. Stevens. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. You got it.
L. Stevens from the University of Alabama Club nominate Taylor DeSico from the University of Alabama Club for International President.
And do we have a second?
I, Amaya Ross from the University of South Alabama Circle K Club, second that nomination.
All right. Are there any other nominations for the office of International President? Are there any other nominations for the office of International President? All right, hearing none, I now close nominations for the office of International President. I now open the floor for nominations for the office of International Vice President. Are there any nominations for the office of International Vice President?
I, William King of the University of Stockton Club, nominate Matthew Euro of the College of New Jersey for the position of International Vice President.
And do we have a second for Matthew?
I, Joseph Rivera from the Montclair State University Circle K Club, second this nomination.
Are there any other nominations for the office of International Vice President? Mason has his hand up.
Sorry. I'm Mason Kaufman, Citrus Division Lieutenant Governor from the University of Central Florida, nominate Madison Burt from the University of Florida for International Vice President.
Do we have a second for Madison?
I, Kristen Drollins, the Florida District Treasurer for the Florida District at Florida Gulf Coast University, second this nomination.
Awesome. Are there any other nominations for the office of International Vice President? Are there any other nominations for the office of International Vice President? Hearing none, I now close nominations for the office of International Vice President. I now open the floor for nominations for the office of International Trustee. Are there any nominations for the office of International Trustee? Go ahead and raise your hand for this one. Go ahead, Nicole.
I, Nicole Wang from the University of Florida, nominate Amber Morgan from the University of Florida for the office of International Trustee.
Do we have a second for Amber?
I, Jose Mendez from Florida International University, second Amber Morgan for International Trustee from the University of Florida.
Go ahead, Amaya.
I, Amaya Ross from the University of South Alabama Circle K Club, nominate Casey Crusoe from the University of South Alabama Circle K for the Office of International Trustee.
Do we have a second for Casey?
I, Jose Mendez from Florida International University, second Casey Crusoe from University of South Alabama for International Trustee.
Go ahead, Kendall.
I, Kendall Stokes from the Montana District, Montana State University Buildings, nominate Jonathan Huang for the position of International Trustee.
And do we have a second for Jonathan?
I, L. Stevens from the University of Alabama, second the nomination of Jonathan Huang for International Trustee.
All right, go ahead, Hassan.
Sorry about that. I, Hassan Hashemian, president of Circle K International at the University of Texas at Dallas, nominate Supraja Malapuram for the position of International Trustee.
And do we have a second for Supraja?
Amber Tucker from Westfield State University, second the nomination for Supraja Malapuram for International Trustee.
Awesome. Go ahead, Lucy.
I cannot raise my hand down, but can you lower the hand for me? I'm sorry.
Are there any other nominations for the office of International Trustee? Are there any other? Oh, go ahead. I don't know who just spoke.
I, Maddie Litvin from High Point University Club, nominate Pri Saxena from the UNC Club for position of International Trustee.
And do we have a second for Pri?
I, Cameron Eller from the Circle K Club at High Point University, second that nomination.
Are there any other nominations for the office of International Trustee? Oh, Maddie, you have your hand raised. Go ahead.
I, Maddie Litvin from the High Point University Club, nominate Cameron Eller from High Point University Club for the position of International Trustee.
And do we have a second for Cameron?
I, Amaya Ross from the University of South Alabama Circle K, second the nomination.
Are there any other nominations for the office of International Trustee? Are there any other nominations for the office of International Trustee? All right, hearing none, I now close nominations for the office of International. Oh,
Zach, we need to get somebody to nominate Patricia. Said she can't be here, so we'll do like an unofficial nomination and then we'll email her.
okay. All right.
I can do it, Zach.
Yeah, go ahead, Anna.
Okay. I, Hannah Riley from Capital University, nominate Patricia for the office of International Trustee.
And we have a second.
I, Trudy Ann Sterling from the University of the West Indies Mona campus, second that nomination.
All right. One more time, are there any other nominations for the office of International Trustee? Hearing none, we will close the nominations for the office of International Trustee. As a reminder, we will open the floor for nominations again during the opening session of International Convention next week. If you're considering running from the floor, please contact Sam, CPI Program Specialist Samantha Wagner. I will drop your email in the chat. It is swagner@kiwanis.org. Perfect, thank you, Sam. If you're interested or planning to run off the floor, please contact her ahead of time. There's some paperwork that you have to fill out. At this time, we will begin moving candidates for international president and vice president to their breakout room to wait until their turn to speak. Yep, and thanks, Katie. As a reminder, please do not communicate with the candidates during this session. We don't want any unfair advantages or folks knowing about the questions beforehand. Sam, let me know when the breakout rooms are good. I can't see who's in them. Sam, are they in the rooms? All right, perfect. It is now my pleasure to introduce our presidential candidate, Taylor DeSico. Katie, are we all set with the timekeeping?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, Taylor, you will have 4 minutes to speak. Your time starts whenever you start speaking.
Can everyone hear me? Okay. I once had a mentor embody that the best thing one can do in this life is to help others, no matter the capacity. They emphasized the importance of giving my time and taught me what it truly meant to be selfless and dedicated to service. This mentor was my JRTC instructor who not only served as a role model and advisor, but also as a father figure over the course of 8 years until his passing a year ago. The world lost Colonel Crab last year during Circle K International Convention, and all I wanted to tell him was that I had been elected to serve as an international trustee for the organization that had taken over my heart. If there's one thing I learned from Colonel Crab, it's that this life is not worth living unless you live it with the effort to make the world a better one. And that is exactly what I plan to do if elected to serve as your next international president, to help make a better world by empowering an organization that truly has the potential and ability to do just that. A question I've been asked many times is my why. Why have I decided to run? Well, this past year as international trustee, I had the privilege of getting to know so many amazing, talented, and hardworking members from around the world. As international trustee, it was my duty to support my districts each and every day, and my passion for this organization and for the supporting of our members has ultimately inspired me to run for this role. I believe that my leadership experience in all 3 leadership levels of CKI has equipped me with the knowledge and tools necessary to preserve the longevity of our organization. As club president at the University of Alabama, I was tasked with ensuring club growth and stability and made it my #1 priority to make our club a welcoming one that people yearn to join. I learned how to lead an executive board and better communicate with our members to understand their wants and needs. As Lieutenant Governor, I was entrusted with bridging the gap between the Alabama district and the clubs in my division and ensuring that all club officers felt supported by the district. I learned how to be part of a board, really a team, and how to work with others to achieve goals and implement strategies for the betterment of those impacted by our decisions. As international trustee, I was committed to supporting the districts I was assigned and the governors of those districts. I made it my top priority to provide a safe space for governors and learned how to make hard decisions, manage conflict, and help lead an organization. From these experiences, I have ultimately extracted 3 main goals: expand membership, sustain finances, and support members on all levels. In a concentrated effort to expand membership in recent years, there have been numerous initiatives that have been rolled out. At the end of the day, though, growth in membership starts with our clubs. We need to ensure members are receiving the best experience possible to garner traction and excitement from those on the outside, encouraging members to tell friends to join CKI and ignite passion from within. I have heard many members say they want to see more from their $24. This means we need to roll out new and exciting benefits tailored to all districts, benefits that college students want and need. This is what it means to support our members. Supporting our members is of my utmost priority because by supporting our members, we enhance the member experience, we expand membership, we grow financially, and most importantly, we magnify the impact on our communities. They need to feel heard and know that we are listening. It is no secret that Circle K International is facing a lot right now. We are struggling in more ways than one, that is apparent. However, despite the difficulties we face, we are still an organization that can inspire humanity to reach its fullest potential by putting in the hard work each and every day on the back end. It means we must be intentional about the service we do, the offices we hold, and the relationships we build with others. An international president needs to be someone who will work tirelessly to be an advocate for this organization with a passion for leading us into a better tomorrow. This is exactly what I promise to do if elected international president. I hope that you will provide me with the opportunity to lead such an amazing organization that truly serves as an agent of change by electing me to serve as your next Circle K international president. Thank you.
All right, first question. How do you plan to convey the value of being in CKI to current and prospective members in order to bolster membership growth on an international level in the next service year?
Yeah, so something I tell people a lot of times, like at the club level when we're at recruitment fairs, is that Circle K is more than just a place to do service. It is a place where you can build your resume, you can make friends, and you can change the world all at once. And so I think to try and help people on the outside, like prospective members, to realize that we really have to be showcasing the value of CKI to the rest of the world and including to our current members. I also think in order to bolster that membership within our current membership, we really need to be expanding our member benefits. I know we've been struggling with that, but at the end of the day, I think there are ways that we can get discounted rates for member benefits and just get those in the door so that members know that they have value and that way they can ensure that they know they are getting value back that they are putting into our organization at the end of the day.
Great. What steps will you take to help secure the financial future of CKI?
So I honestly believe, as some of you may know, a dues increase is the best thing for us, and I really hope that it passes that icon this year. At the end of the day, though, if we don't have members paying dues, that dues increase is not going to do anything. So we need to really have a lot of support, not only from the international board, but also from district boards to those club members to showcase the reason this is why you pay dues to this organization. This is what paying dues is going to do for you and do not just for you, but also for the community. And so ensuring that they have access to resources to know how to pay those dues and to also be encouraged to pay those dues, that is vital. And a lot of Kiwanis clubs may not be willing to offer support. I know a lot are, but some are not. And so ensuring that these clubs and these members know how to fundraise, like effectively fundraise, is so important because not everyone can afford dues, especially if there is a dues increase that is passed.
How will you work with other leaders and members to address and resolve conflicts within CKI, both within the board and within the larger organization?
Yeah, so I think at the end of the day with conflict management, it's all about communication. And so if that is among the people on my board, it's all about communicating and ensuring that everybody has a say-so in what's going on. Everybody's voice is heard and how they feel. And then at the end of the day with the rest of the organization, I think it comes down to transparency, being as transparent as possible, ensuring that everyone has a voice and a say-so in how our organization is being run as much as they can be. And so I think, like I said, just at the end of the day, it is all about that key communication.
Thanks, Taylor. And that was all the questions. We will now move on to our candidates for vice president. Our first candidate, based on alphabetical order, is Madison Burt. Sam, is she back in the room? Oh, perfect. All right, Madison, once you start speaking, you will have 4 minutes. So whenever you're ready.
Good evening, CKI. My name is Madison Burt, and I'm running to be your next CKI International Vice President. It is such an honor to be on the call with you all tonight and to be running to serve each of you. Going to CKI service projects and seeing the immense impact that just one CKI member can have on the lives of so many greatly warms my heart and gives me so much passion to serve each of you as International Vice President. My CKI journey actually began when I was a senior in high school when I served as my Key Club District's Kiwanis Family Relations Chair. Throughout that year, I worked with so many CKI leaders to build the relationship between Key Club and CKI, and I was so excited to join college just to join CKI. Throughout the 21-22 service year, I was a very active CKI member and served as my district's public relations chair. Then throughout the 22-23 service year, I served as the Florida CKI District Secretary, where I worked individually with each of my club secretaries to support them in turning in their monthly report forms, so our district had 100% MRF submission. I also created and distributed our district board meeting minutes for all of our different board meetings that we held, and received the Distinguished District Secretary with Honors Award at ICON. That year, I also was the international chair for the Alumni and Kiwanis Family Relations Committee, where we worked to build the relationships between CKI and the different branches of the Kiwanis family. I'm a current member of the CKI International Global Development Committee, where we work to support and grow each of our international clubs. And this past year, I had the honor of serving as the Florida CKI District Governor, where I worked diligently alongside each of my district board members to help us grow our entire district and support our district-wide initiative of rebuilding. We not only had positive membership growth across our district, but all of our clubs paid dues and met minimum membership requirements for the first time in many years. We also chartered a club, reactivated a club, had a huge increase in our district event attendance, raised over $2,600 for Brick by Brick, and so much more. And I say all of this because I want to show you that I can bring my CKI knowledge, experience, skills, and all of my different accomplishments that I've had to best serve each of you, your clubs, and our entire organization as International Vice President. My main goal is to work with our international board, district leaders, and our international committee chairs to make sure that we are rebuilding our organization and expanding the CKI experience. Our members are the true heart of our organization. So as International Vice President, my goal is to support all of our members to make sure that they have the support and resources that they need, as well as helping them grow into stronger leaders through having international workshops and different rallies to support our members. Focusing on membership recruitment and retention is a huge priority and goal of mine. So I plan to work with our international committees this next year to support them in creating resources and guides to help each of you in your districts grow in membership and in paying dues. By utilizing social media, monthly newsletters, as well as working to receive member feedback, we can truly help our organization grow, expand international engagement, and promote our international initiatives. By supporting our district secretaries, treasurers, and editors, by providing them with resources, trainings, and collaboration methods, we can help all of our districts. While I know that the future may seem difficult and uncertain, we can truly all work together to help rebuild our organization and put us on the path for future success. It is such an honor to be running to be your international vice president, and I'm so excited to meet so many of you in Denver in just a week. Thank you.
Thanks, Madison. You will now have up to 3 minutes to answer these 3 questions. The first question, how do you plan to convey the value of being in CKI to current and prospective members?
Zach, that's such a great question. I think that one of the main jobs as international vice president is to really make sure that I'm working to support our international committees and making sure that they are the ones, especially our future MD&E committee, which is our membership development education committee, who works on recruiting members, and making sure that I sit down with that committee and go through the different process of how to recruit a CKI member. There's so many great benefits of being in CKI, not just for the service opportunities or for the networking or for the fellowship. There's so many great opportunities, and by making sure that I'm working with our international committees so that they're producing resources to give directly to our club leaders and to our club members to be able to then help our clubs in turn go to different tabling events and to recruit members on their own campuses. I think that's one of the main jobs as international vice president for this next year.
If elected, what steps will you take to help secure the financial future of CKI?
So this past year, I served as the Florida CKI District Governor. And like I mentioned, my district, we worked really hard on encouraging due submissions. And as International Vice President, I think that's one of the most important jobs, especially in terms of a potential dues increase, is making sure that we are giving all of our clubs the resources and the support that they need to be able to help pay their dues. As District Governor this past year, I worked with my district treasurer and we had individual calls with each of our different clubs and their Kiwanis advisors to talk about the dues process, how to pay their dues, and the importance of doing so. And as International Vice President, I plan to share these resources and these plans with my district treasurers, and to start off on the first day that I'm elected in working with our district treasurers so that they're ready to be able to go tackle the obstacles of encouraging dues within their own clubs. Because by providing our district treasurers with the resources, they'll be equipped to be able to go and tackle working individually with each of their own individual clubs within their district.
And last question, how do you plan on using the international committees to further CKI's goals?
So as I mentioned, I have a lot of experience on being on CKI committees in the past. So I plan to bring all of that experience and knowledge to the position of International Vice President. And I think that as we're moving forward, one of the most important areas for us to be working on as an entire district is working on membership. And so I want to make sure that all of our international committees are all having different relationships to membership. So they're all focusing on growing our membership. So that way we're working on increasing our entire overall membership of our whole organization, while also promoting all of our different international initiatives. So by having set trainings with our international committee chairs, by attending the international committees meetings, and making sure that we're truly giving our committees member-driven tasks that will help our organization, I truly believe that I'll be able to be an effective role, or will be able to be an effective vice president to serve each of our international committees to make sure that they are working to support our international goals, and especially focusing on increasing membership throughout this next year.
Awesome. Thank you, Madison. And that's all. We will now welcome our second candidate for vice president, Matthew Euro. All right, Matthew, you will have 4 minutes to speak. Your time starts whenever you start speaking. Katie, are you ready with the time?
Yes. Hello, CKI attendees. My name is Matthew Euro from the New Jersey District, and I am running to be your next International Vice President. I joined the Kiwanis family when I joined Builders Club 9 years ago, and that monumental decision changed my life forever. The Kiwanis family has helped to develop me into the kind, heartfelt leader that you see before you today. Someone who leads with integrity, advocacy, and goal setting for the future. Just like many of you and your whys of joining CKI, I joined CKI because of my amazing experience in Key Club. From the moment I stepped on the campus, I knew I was joining CKI and wanted to get involved as quickly as possible. I met a group of passionate CKI members at TC&J at my freshman involvement fair. With like-minded people who love to volunteer and give back to the community, I grew a very special bond with my home club. I began to seek out leadership roles within the organization, and throughout the last 3 years, was able to serve as vice chair of the Membership Experience Committee, vice chair of the Alumni and Kiwanis Family Relations Committee, and chair of the Events and Awards Committee this year for Circle K International. With my committee experience, I have been able to plan ICON 2024, assist with CKI awards and advertising, host the 2022 Key Club Senior Night, review Tomorrow Fund grant applications, and help to develop a KFAM workshop and resources on the different branches of the Kiwanis family, amongst other things. On the district level, I served as a 2-term lieutenant governor, where I helped to strengthen my division through increasing communication, district event attendance, and helped to provide more resources on recruitment and retention, fundraising, and KFAM relation efforts. These stepping stones have all prepared me as I seek your vote for International Vice President. Our organization is at a time of need for strong leaders who can bring new perspectives and ideas to the table. What we have been doing in the past as an organization is not working, and we need to find new strategies to help increase membership and engagement, find transitional leaders, and become stable financially. I make it a mission every day to follow the CKI motto, live to serve, love to serve. And with my platform, Serve, I plan to support, engage, reconnect, value, and educate members on all of CKI's offerings and benefits. Let's support our district and international leaders through meaningful conversations and strategic membership goal setting. Let's engage with our members by hosting engagement rallies, identify future leaders of the organization for our international committee members, and provide in-depth guidance for our international committees with clear goals and directives in addition to proper transitions and one-on-one calls. Let's reconnect our communication techniques by exploring new systems for text message updates, expand our fundraising efforts for Brick by Brick through new resources, and collaborate more with the Kiwanis family on the international level. Let's value our district and club leaders in membership recruitment and retention efforts by starting with the needs of our club leaders. Celebrate more of the successes of our active members and clubs, and listen to the concerns and needs of you. Lastly, let's educate by making member benefits easily accessible on the website. Explore new member benefits such as internships, allow members to see where their dues money is going through a detailed breakdown chart, continue our focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, and think of new personal ways to promote and advertise the Global Leadership Certificate and Alumni Network. Together, let's serve as we become the change agents of tomorrow. Thank you.
Great, Matthew, you have 3 minutes to answer 3 questions, whichever comes first. The first question, how do you plan to convey the value of being in CKI to current and prospective members?
Thank you so much for your question. So Circle K International has so many amazing benefits that we can offer prospective students, and really emphasizing and highlighting the first ambassador program that was created today to ensure that each club in Circle K International has access to helping recruit new and prospective members, especially first-year students that can continue to rise in their leadership abilities and serve in leadership roles throughout the organization. But it's also important that we ensure that our members are providing the adequate amount of resources and guidance in order to help increase our membership numbers and to kind of bring a new draw and new attention to the organization as a whole when recruiting.
If elected, what steps will you take to help secure the financial future of CKI?
Thank you so much for your question. It's really, really important that we focus and become stable as an organization financially. There's a really important amendment that is happening at ICON during House of Delegates to increase dues, and it's going to be a conversation that we all really need to be committed to and open to having. Although sometimes hard, we really need to begin preparing in advance if a dues increase does pass. What that looks like for our clubs and how Circle K International as a whole can help to support our clubs and districts throughout the changing of dues.
And last question, how do you plan on using the international committees to further CKI's goals?
Yeah, so Circle K International has a bunch of fantastic committees that all help to achieve goals that the Circle K International Board creates. And it's really important that we utilize the international committees as much as possible in terms of helping to develop our goals that the international board will create once the new board is elected. It's really important to kind of see where our international committees, the work that they have done this past year, and see what stepping stones we can take as we approach the new service year, and kind of continuing ideas that our committees were working on and continuing them to create a better transition when we go from service year to service year in terms of keeping up with goals and directives that the international committees have been working.
Thank you, Matthew. That's all. Thank you to our international president and international vice presidential candidates. At this time, we will begin moving the candidates for international trustees to their breakout rooms. Sam, give me a thumbs up once all of them are out of the room. All right, we'll now hear from our candidates for international trustee, again in alphabetical order. Our first candidate will be Casey Crusoe. Casey, you will be given 3 minutes to speak, and that time will start as soon as you start speaking. So go ahead.
All right. Can everyone hear me? Okay. All right. So I'm Casey Crusoe. I attend the University of South Alabama in the Great Alabama District. And so I, want to go over my platform with you guys and kind of give you why I'm running and really the spirit of, what we can do and what I can do to serve this year. So starting off with my experience, I jumped into Circle K my freshman year running, truly. I was the club treasurer. Shortly after that, there was a vacancy for club president. So I took over as the interim club president. Later, after that, I was elected to the full time. Shortly after that, I served that for a few months, had great growth, got to meet and love everything about that process of being as the club president. Then shortly after that, there was a position on the district board to become a lieutenant governor. I was one of the few people that, took the position, and I said, well, let me do it. I can grow the division and help and work on that. So I did that. And then just recently, I ran again to be a lieutenant governor. And so I know you're probably wondering, like, Casey, I didn't see any of your stuff. And that's because I had to resign from my position as lieutenant governor to run for international trustee. And I think that's so important for you guys to know is because the central theme of me running is to take action. This year is going to be, this next service year is going to be one of the most influential years that the board can have and can do. And I think I'm one of those people that'll be able to help that curve. And so my plan is called Taking Action. And so the A is going to stand for advocacy. And so in that, I want to advocate for the interests and the needs of the members at the international level. And I really want to ensure that the voices are heard and their concerns are truly addressed. Because I know in situations of an organization this big, sometimes things can be convoluted and can be skipped over. So I want to make sure that our members know that they are heard, they are seen, and that we're working as hard as we can for them. Moving into the C, I really want to work on collaboration. So I truly want to foster collaboration between clubs and districts. So we want to really promote teamwork and unity to achieve the common goals. And the biggest common goal we're hearing this year is growing members. So I want to be that help. I've been through the process of having a club that wasn't performing as it should. And by the time I left, it was at a greater level. So I want to give that insight and wisdom that I have on that process to help. Also, transparency. One of the biggest things that we have is to be transparent and to help. And I see our hand, I'm running out of time. So I'll go over these really fast. My I is going to be innovation. I have a plethora of ideas that I want to give to the board. And so I hope I'll be able to do that. It's going to be for outreach, and then N for nurture. I really want to help, really want to go through that process and walk along with them to let them know that they are here, seen, and heard. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So you will have 3 minutes to answer up to 3 questions, whichever comes first. First question is going to be, how do you plan to promote the value of CKI membership to bolster recruitment and retention in your assigned districts?
I think the biggest thing to echo across the districts that I would, potentially be over is what made you join? And I think given that why statement to give to clubs and organizations and even members that are going to be the ones recruiting, I think the biggest thing is to say why you're here. Tell all the resources. I mean, we've had people speak today, and I think one of the biggest things is what can we do better? How can we help better? But the first thing we have to say is, why are we still here? We've joined the club year after year, and I think explaining that to new members and exploring all the possibilities and the big things that you can do within the club is going to be the biggest thing of exploring values to new members and clubs and districts as a whole.
What would you do as international trustee if one of your districts is struggling with club and member involvement in the district?
I think we would have to assess it, of course. So every district's different. So we would have to look at the root of the problem. So kind of getting to what some would call, I guess, for lack of a better term, the nitty gritty. Is kind of figuring out where the problem is coming from. So is it a lack of people wanting to pay dues, or is it just a lack of people wanting to come to events, or is it a lack of people having support from their Kiwanis advisors? So I think that's the biggest thing, is finding where the problem is and addressing it at the head. It's not truly I don't believe it's a one size fit all approach. So I think we would have to get to the root of the problem and then address it from there.
And last question, how do you plan to help create an equitable and inclusive atmosphere for all members of CKI?
The biggest way to do that is letting their voices be heard. The biggest thing that I've learned being in clubs and organizations is people want to know that they're seen. People want to know that they're heard. And I think the best way to do that is by having those forums for them to speak. So having those times where you have hours where people can join a Zoom, or if it's my home club, I can meet with them in person, or even if it's a district that's close to me, trying to do those outreach programs so that people understand, like, hey, he's not just someone far off, in the distance that's not going to be there to help me. I want them to know that I'm a resource to them. And so being accessible, being ready and available, I think is going to be the best thing to making it an equitable organization and as a whole of what I could do as an international trustee.
Awesome. Thanks, Casey. And that is all. The next candidate is going to be Cameron Eller. All right, Cameron, you will have 3 minutes to speak. Your time will start once you start speaking.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Zach. So hey y'all, I'm Cameron Eller. I am a proud member of the Carolinas District of Circle K International, and I am running for the position of International Trustee. And to get straight to the point, when I think of Circle K, I think of raw potatoes. Some of you may get that reference, but for others, let me explain. Raw potatoes can turn into French fries, mashed potatoes, tater tots, hash browns, whatever you want them to be. And when I think of that, I think of the transformation that Circle K brings through all of us throughout our college experience. Not all of us are going to be French fries. Some of us turn into mashed potatoes. Some of us turn into tater tots. And it's all from the different unique experiences we get through the service we do, the friends that we make, the leadership that we experience. And my transformation through Circle K actually started when I was in high school and I was a member of Key Club. So I was in Key Club in high school, came to college, and immediately knew that I was missing something. And I knew right away that it was the K family. So my freshman year of college, I had the opportunity to recharter my home club at High Point University and served as president for 2 years, followed by lieutenant governor on the district board after that. And most recently, I had the opportunity to serve as my district governor, as well as the international brick by brick fundraising chair. And I speak about this transformation because I feel that it's something that is genuinely so crucial and vital to all of our college experiences and changes us into the people that we are by the time we graduate. And if we did not have Circle K, we would not be the people that we are our senior year of college. And I think that that's something that we need to share and we need to spread and bring more people into our organization. So that comes to my pillars, which are outreach, philanthropy, K family, and the due structure. And I think these are all things that are very important to implementing Circle K, bringing it to more people, and really bringing that transformative experience to more people across the world. So the first thing that I feel very strongly about is outreach, personal and consistent outreach. During my first year of presidency, after we rechartered the club, we were able to grow from 3 to 65 members in 1 year. And I feel as though that's something that really comes with, grabbing people when you're on campus and you're on the way to a Circle K meeting, really using that personal outreach. And that's something that I hope to do if elected to international trustee with my governors and my districts. And secondly, philanthropy. I also had the opportunity and privilege when I was a sophomore in college to found the Miss HPU pageant, which has raised $40,000 to date. And I think that philanthropy is something that really unites clubs that not many things can in the same way, and really bring clubs from around the entire world together. So that's something I'd really like to encourage and push out more information about. Next is the K family. Key Club is our feeder organization, and Kiwanis is really the organization that supports us more than anything. So just strengthening the relations, especially through the alumni networks. And then lastly, I know dues is a big discussion, and something that I really like to do is implement an individual dues structure that allows people to pay their dues on an individual basis to hopefully streamline the process and increase membership.
That's time.
Thank you so much.
You will have up to 3 minutes to answer these 3 questions. First question is, how do you plan to promote the value of CKI membership to bolster recruitment and retention in your assigned district?
So I kind of touched on this a little bit, but my strongest thing for that is personal outreach. I truly believe that consistent and personal communication is what's most important to engaging people and increasing recruitment and membership retention. Something that I did when I was governor most recently was I got the personal phone numbers of every single president in my district from the first day of their term on April 1st when we had LeadCon. And that's something that I really think carried me through my entire term as governor, to be able to continue that relationship with them, and what really sustained a lot of our clubs and keeping leaders together and not burned out since they had someone to lean on. So that's really something I'd like to utilize since I have been in the position of governor, using my experiences to help guide district boards to recruiting new members in the same way.
What would you do as international trustee if one of your districts is struggling with club and member involvement in the district?
So again, serving as governor, I did have a few clubs that occasionally struggled with involvement, and that's something where I feel like boards can really lean on the people around them. So I had a board of incredible lieutenant governors, and I think, again, the personal outreach is something that I feel very strongly about. So what I would always encourage governors to do is be mobile if possible. Your lieutenant governors are a great source of outreach if they can get on calls with their districts, clubs, and the boards. It really adds a sense of personal outreach again. And I think that's what brought some of our clubs back to being a little bit more active, was just knowing that there is an organization outside of their home club, and there's people that the boards can lean on to come up with different activities. And we also had a panel during our President's Council that was implemented this year, where club boards could share ideas with each other, and that helped increase engagement a lot throughout our clubs in the district.
And last question, how do you plan to help create an equitable and inclusive atmosphere for all members of CKI?
So this is something that I feel very strongly about. I think Circle K is an extremely diverse organization. It's one of the most diverse organizations that I'm a part of, and I think that's an incredible aspect of this organization. And I think that it is something that we strive in. But I think that one thing that I would really like to focus on improving is international relations. So pushing more member benefits out that benefit international clubs in the same way that clubs in the United States are benefited is something that I would focus on to make sure that it is really equitable for all members.
Awesome, thanks. And that's all for questions.
Thank you.
The next candidate will be Jonathan Hong. Jonathan, you will have 3 minutes to speak. Your time will start as soon as you start speaking. So go ahead whenever.
Awesome. Good evening, Circle K. My name is Jonathan Huang, and I'm currently a rising junior at Harvard University studying molecular and cellular biology. Today, I'm honored to be speaking to all of you as a candidate for the office of International Trustee. For context, I'm currently a proud member of the New England District of CKI, where I've had the chance to serve as a club founder and president, a district committee chair, and most recently as an international committee chair. However, my journey in K family began when I fell in love with Key Club 6 years ago, convincing me to continue into Circle K and leading me to this exact point today. Now I'm excited to jumpstart this next step in my pursuit of service, leadership, and fellowship together with you by hopefully getting to serve as one of your next international trustees, allowing me to give back to an organization that means the world to me and has provided me with community and memories like no other. However, it goes without saying that Circle K is currently in a pivotal moment in our organization's history. Regardless of who you ask, it's a known fact that CKI has recently faced tremendous challenges, both in terms of membership recruitment and retention, as well as our finances. Now we are at a crossroads where we, as an organization, must work together to rebuild CKI as we know it. At the root of my platform, I hope to use the position of trustee to better bridge the communication between the international level and our districts and clubs. To truly work towards effective membership recruitment and retention, our efforts need to be focused on the members of CKI, who serve as our organization's backbone. To do so, I hope to do more directed outreach to clubs and districts, ensuring that members can actually put a face to the people they elect to serve on the international board. Additionally, by hosting events like semesterly engagement rallies, trustee office hours, or virtual social nights, I hope to further engage and excite our members. Most importantly, as a trustee, I want to be able to form a true connection with all the members, both in my district and beyond, helping them each feel welcome, included, and well represented. Furthermore, I believe Circle K is in a desperate need for a full rebrand. As some of you may heard, what we've been doing as an organization so far has not been working. It's time for us to come together to brainstorm more ideas to expand our outreach strategies, to get the word about CKI out there into the world, and as well as innovate more membership benefits that our district and club leaders can feel proud and passionate about promoting. Instead of being stuck in the issues of the present, it's time for us to gear up and push towards new ideas, new goals, and a new definition of success. Overall, as a candidate seeking your vote, I understand how the position of trustee requires dedication, time, and hard work. Today, I stand before you to make a promise that if elected, I will always be willing to listen to you, to work with you, and to continue pushing for the future of CKI that we all want, hope, and deserve. In my eyes, it's only together that we can help build up and expand CKI. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I humbly ask for your vote to serve as one of your next international trustees for this upcoming service year. Thank you, and see you all in Denver.
Great. You will have 3 minutes to answer up to 3 questions, whichever comes first. First one, how do you plan to promote the value of CKI membership to bolster recruitment and retention in your assigned districts?
Yeah, so first, I think one of the best resources we can take advantage of is definitely the international committees, more specifically the Membership Development and Education Committee. By working together with that committee, I hope to provide more resources to the club leaders and the district leaders within both the districts I oversee, as well as in the organization overall, because I believe that it's only when they're motivated and when they're truly passionate about the tenets of Circle K that they're able to actually do recruitment efficiently and effectively. If we have people out there who's promoting our organization without truly believing in our values, it's really hard to convince a random student that's passing by or even a friend to join our organization. So it's only when we're able to truly motivate everyone, get everyone energetic and excited, that we'd be able to do that.
Second question, what would you do as international trustee if one of your districts is struggling with club and member involvement in the district?
Yeah, so I know as a trustee, one of my main responsibilities definitely includes doing that one-on-one with the district governors. But moving beyond that, I think I really want to meet with the district board, try to gauge where they're standing and like where this issue is coming from. I think it's really important to be able to have those open conversations to see where the weakness, like where the weak points in their district may be, and then working together with the rest of the international board to try to brainstorm ideas. I think that every single district deserves a chance at success and deserves to be connected with a bunch of different resources, tips, and obviously guidance to navigate out of those situations. So as a trustee, I would try to take advantage of everything that I'm able to do to help my districts to do just that.
And last question, how do you plan to help create an equitable and inclusive atmosphere for all members of CKI?
Yeah, so this actually builds off of my experience this past year as the International Committee Chair for the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. Personally, coming from a lower income and first generation background, I understand firsthand how Circle K can sometimes be really difficult for people to be a part of or to stay in, either because of financial difficulties or because of other like aspects of the organization that may not make them feel the most represented. If elected as a trustee, first, I think I would try to work with the other members of the International Board as well as the governors to try to find ways that we can make CKI more equitable and inclusive, especially for those from lower income backgrounds like myself. Whether that be pursuing ideas like an Icon Travel Fund Scholarship, which we see in Key Club, and it's something that I also mentioned in my campaign platform, or just by doing more things like DEI rallies or other ideas like that to make sure that every single member of our organization, regardless of what district they're from or what their background may be, can feel that they're equally represented, welcome, and at home in the organization that we all love.
Awesome. And that is all for questions. Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you, everyone.
The next candidate for international trustee will be Supraja Malapuram. So Supraja, you will have 3 minutes to speak whenever you start speaking.
Hi, all. As much as I love being from Texas, my original story begins in a small home in India. Though we lacked many things, we were always filled with love and a very big family. My grandmother is extremely kind, my mother extremely perseverant, and working towards all her dreams and goals. Growing up with really strong female leads had me develop my own character and really value their own morals and upbringings. I came to the US at 8 years old, and my mother really pushed education and family. One of the biggest things I hear growing up is family comes first. Their definition of family is essentially those who are there for you no matter what happens in your failures and successes. I apply that definition of family to CKI. They're my second family. I've truly been welcomed with open arms into CKI when it comes to my district administrators, my lovely governor, and all the amazing, wonderful members I've met throughout my term. Essentially, for me, being a strong woman in leadership means a lot because of the women that surround me in every single aspect of my life. That's why my campaign focuses on bows mean business. Bows aren't just cute, they mean serious business. So B is for boosting membership. I really want to highlight social media boosting membership because I think it's a very great way to get the word out there and work specifically with clubs to understand what they want to value in a social media platform to push their specific initiatives and events going forward. I also want to work with districts to understand what is going well and what's not, so we can exchange resources and learn from each issues and also successes. O stands for organizing communication. Along with the ambassador program that's coming up, I think it's really important to highlight and having role models who can speak out on district levels. We already have our governors, but having students that can be ambassadors can really help take on pride for CKI and their values. I'm currently an ambassador for Kendra Scott, which is a jewelry brand and very women-oriented jewelry brand. And I've been able to bring together the women of my community to raise money for breast cancer awareness and other philanthropic activities. Organizing communication is really important between the districts to maintain a very accurate, streamlined of communication. In addition, W is for women's empowerment. Again, going back to Kendra Scott, working with a brand that huge and having such strong female leads helps me realize that I really want to utilize that within CKI. We have women in Kiwanis, and Colleen Biggerstaff, my district administrator, is also one of the first women in Kiwanis that has been recently recognized. I really think it's important to try to do collaborative leadership initiatives with all the women in Kiwanis and CKI, so we can do programs where we can recognize the female leaders that we've had in the past and give mentorship to those that are coming up soon. W was for women's empowerment, sorry. S is for support and inclusive services. So I had the honor of serving in the DEI coalition as vice chair this last year. And we were able to create a DEI guide, which helps highlight accessibility in all CKI events. I think it's really important to make sure these events are accessible to both physically handicapped and
You'll have 3 minutes to answer up to 3 questions, whichever comes first. First question, how do you plan to promote the value of CKI membership to bolster recruitment and retention in your assigned districts?
So for me, it's all about those 3 tenets. And I think it's really important to highlight each one to work with our districts and understand what they've already been implementing, what's working well and what isn't. First of all, going with fellowship, understanding what sort of people are joining the CKI clubs and building a sense of friendship and community is really important. We can do that through social media along with word of mouth. And then when it comes to leadership, coming up with more leadership initiatives and sharing all our district-wide coalitions and committees along with international things, because I didn't know too much about international until I started getting into leadership myself. So I think it's important on the club level to really open those doors to showcase CKI isn't just a small club at your school. It's a really big organization. In addition to service, coming up with all our service initiatives and working with members to find out what kind of service events they would like on the club level. And on district level, if we can work with other organizations that hit goals that they're interested in service hours for.
Next question, what would you do as international trustee if one of your districts is struggling with club and member involvement in the district?
So for me, it's all about that very transparent communication. I want to understand what have they done so far to try to treat the problem and where and when has it started. As a pre-med mindset, you can kind of see it as a case and start working out all the symptoms and begin treating it. So I would love to understand what's going on first and see what kind of remedies can we come up with as a group and share it with other people. I think collaboration is extremely important to understand how can we make this work. Very transparent, open, honest communication. If it's just the meetings are not interesting enough, the service events are not gathering enough attention, just being transparent about it and figuring out how we can circumlocute those issues is really important to me.
And lastly, how do you plan to help create an equitable and inclusive atmosphere for all members of CKI?
That's a great question. So for me, I am very, again, open and honest with all my members. And I felt very included because of how we have our experiences and how we can be open. When any member does not feel safe, they feel comfortable enough to come and share it with their governor, lieutenant governor, anything that's going on. We're aware of everything. And I think it really comes from forming trust with the leaders in your organization. Members should feel comfortable with the club presidents to share issues and on the higher level district and international. So for me, it's really about learning, do you feel included? How can we make it happen? Hearing it from a personal level and then trying to implement it on a larger scale.
And that's all for questions. Thanks, Supervisor.
Thank you.
And we do recognize we're running a little bit over time. We'll probably be about 12 to 15 minutes over today. The next candidate is going to be Amber Morgan. Amber, you'll have 3 minutes to speak. Your time will start as soon as you start speaking.
Hello, leaders. I am Amber Morgan, and I am excited to be running for International Trustee. I am a rising senior in the Florida District and have been a part of CKI for 3 years and a part of the Caucus family for more than 10. Throughout my journey in CKI, I have had the opportunity to hold many different leadership positions and have developed a strong understanding of CKI. I have served as the Conventions Chair, District Treasurer, and District Secretary. Each of these experiences taught me something new about CKI, such as how to plan district-wide events, develop a district budget, keep records, and work with the Membership Update Center. I also served on the International Events and Awards Committee, which has given me insight on how CKI functions internationally. Using these experiences, I design my platform so I can empower my districts to succeed. I will do this through monthly district events focused on our 3 tenets, alternating between leadership, service, and fellowship, so that the members feel connected through each tenet. I will also create a shared resource drive because I want the districts to build each other up and work together. Additionally, I will send out a monthly newsletter to keep everyone up to date with international news and highlight the activities of each of my districts. I will also implement member spotlights and assist districts with recruitment and retention. Using these member spotlights, I will recognize our amazing members and give them their moment to shine. Through my one-on-ones, I will learn what strategies each district uses and the strengths that they possess so that I can empower them to reach their goals. I will visit each of my districts, virtually or in person, so I can meet the leaders I'm working with and create those lasting connections. I also have extensive experience in event planning, especially district conventions. Conventions can be events that motivate and excite members. I found my passion for the Caucus family at my very first decon, and I want others to experience that same feeling. I will work with districts so they can plan and hold a memorable convention. It is especially important to motivate those underclassmen, and that can be a great opportunity to inspire them to step into club leadership or higher. I would also like to foster Caucus family connections and strengthen existing ones so that my districts have all the support and resources that they need. I have so many more ideas I'd like to share, so I look forward to meeting everyone at ICON. Vote for Amber Morgan, and let's do this together, let's do good together, and let's have fun together. I yield the rest of my time to questions.
All right, you will have 3 minutes to answer up to 3 questions, whichever comes first. First question, how do you plan to promote the value of CKI membership to bolster recruitment and retention in your assigned districts?
That's a great question. So to promote CKI to those prospective members, I think it all boils down to sharing your personal story. I think it's really powerful when you hear someone's experience and you say, wow, that's really cool. I want to do that. And I think working with our clubs, working with our districts, and make sure that those stories are being shared, whether it be through social media or being shared at tabling, making sure that these members are sharing what they're experiencing and why it's so valuable to them. And using that, those prospective members can see themselves in our clubs. They can see what value it'll bring into their lives. And using our 3 tenets, we can kind of show them what it would be like. Hey, you could go for this leadership position, or hey, you're really passionate about this service initiative. Well, we can work with you and do a project on it. And of course, fellowship, which is my favorite tenet, they can make friends, and they can make so many friends from across the world. And if they can see that, I think that's what's going to get them in the club. And I think that's how we promote CKI.
Next question. What would you do as international trustee if one of your districts is struggling with club and member involvement in the district?
So the first thing I would like to do is work with my districts and figure out what strategies are they using for club involvement, and maybe develop some new strategies they haven't tried. And it might boil down to talking to these clubs, because the district is made up of those clubs. And if we can figure out maybe what that barrier is, we can find ways to overcome it. If members don't feel like they're being heard, let's make sure they're being heard. If they want to meet with the district leaders, if they want to meet with me, I'm happy to do that. I want to make sure that they feel valuable. And that's why I think having member spotlights would be really cool, because they could say, oh, I want to stay involved. I'm getting recognized on the district level. I'm getting recognized by my international trustee on the international level. And I think figuring that out, it's helping them overcome that boundary. It'll help them grow their members and grow their involvement. And that way these clubs can stay strong and give so many like new students like the chance to experience CKI.
And last question. How do you plan to help create an equitable and inclusive atmosphere for all members of CKI?
Thank you for that question. So when we're marketing CKI, I think it's really important to make sure everyone knows that they're welcome. CKI is for everyone. And working with districts to promote it that way, working with clubs at tabling, social media, and making sure everyone knows that. And when they show up to that first club meeting, they show up to that first district convention, even if they show up to that very first icon, we make sure they feel welcomed. We make sure they're not sitting alone in the corner, that they feel involved. They feel like we're talking to them. They feel like I'm going to House of Delegates and my voice is being heard. And I think that's how we make sure that it's inclusive to everyone and everyone feels like they are a valuable member of CKI. Thank you.
Thanks, Amber. That's all for questions. We will now move on to our last candidate for international trustee, Priyanshu Saxena. Pri, you will have up to 3 minutes to speak. Your time will start as soon as you start speaking.
Can you guys hear me real quick? Okay. Hello, everyone. For those of you who don't already know me, my name is Priyanshu or Pri Saxena. I'm from the Carolinas district. I go to UNC Chapel Hill, and I'm a current international trustee. Just to give a quick CKI biography on myself, I came in my freshman year and joined the Carolinas District Board as Secretary Treasurer. My sophomore year, I served as Carolinas District Governor. Now, of course, I'm serving as International Trustee and looking for a second term as trustee for my senior year. In terms of where our organization is at today, this past year has been a year of change, right? Both implemented change and proposed change. And let's face it, a lot of this change has been driven by our inability to meet certain membership thresholds as an organization. Because of that, we've seen, for example, some districts go into provisional status. We've also seen the International Board propose a series of amendments, including a possible trustee reduction in 2 years, and of course, the possible dues increase. Now, if there's anything that I know about change, it's that with change comes uncertainty. And I don't think it's crazy to say that whether or not some of these amendments pass this summer, next year will be a year of uncertainty for a lot of our districts. And as someone who's been behind the scenes on a lot of these changes this past year, right? As someone who's worked to implement these changes, who's worked with the different financials and crunched the numbers, who's worked with different stakeholders, including staff and Kiwanis, and collected feedback from my districts and other district leaders, as well as someone who was fortunate enough to see 3 of his districts actually grow in membership this past year. And, was able to observe some of the things that worked in those districts that maybe the rest of the organization could benefit from. Right? As someone with all of these different experiences, I think I'm positioned very well to help guide districts through the uncertainty that we will face this upcoming year. And so if I am elected at House of Delegates, for starters, I'll be able to hit the ground running from day one of my term, right? Because of my experience, my learning curve will be a lot less steep than maybe someone newer to the position. And number 2, it will be my goal from day 1 to day 365 of my term to use this experience to bring stability to my districts, the international board, and the organization as a whole in face of this change. And so I hope I could convince all of you that I'm the right candidate for the job between now and House of Delegates. With that said, I know I'm the only thing that sits between all of you and probably a nice warm dinner tonight or going to bed. So I am going to go ahead and cede the rest of my time to questions in hopes that those help you all to get to know me a little better. Thank you.
You will have up to 3 minutes to answer these 3 questions, please. First one, how do you plan to promote the value of CKI membership to bolster recruitment and retention in your assigned districts?
Sure, yeah. So the thing with promoting membership to a prospective member is that each member has a different reason for joining CKI, right? If you just take the people in this call, all of us have different reasons. Some people joined for the service. Some people joined because they were in Key Club and they wanted to continue that experience into college. The reason I joined was because, quite frankly, I wanted a bullet point on my resume. And I've told this story before. I wanted a bullet point on my resume, and there was a leadership position open for the Carolinas district. Is that the most honest reason or genuine reason to join a service organization? It's not. Now, the reason I've stayed is because of the unique type of service that we do and because of the amazing people that I've gotten to meet. But the reason I got in the door, right, the reason I even am here in the first place is because of the leadership tenet. And that's my personal experience. I think there needs to be a focus on figuring out what each prospective member is looking for and how CKI can fulfill that need, right? So in other words, when you're promoting CKI to someone at a tabling event or anywhere else, figure out what they need before you describe what CKI is to them. If they're looking for service, talk about the amazing service that we do. If they're looking for leadership, talk about, for example, the first-year ambassador position, which was launched last year. If they're looking for fellowship, talk about some of the fellowship activities and zone in on what they need to bring them into the door. Once they're in the door, I think we do a great job of keeping them in the door, and that is how we will bolster our membership, and how I plan to in my districts.
Next question. What would you do as international trustee if one of your districts is struggling with club and member involvement in the district?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So, this past year, one of my districts was the Kentucky-Tennessee district, and they went into provisional status. That said, they also grew in membership. With that said, this brings up the conversation about provisional and, the role of a trustee in a provisional district. Say a district that is quote unquote struggling, but I like to think they just have a lot of room to grow. This means, I'll look to develop a growth plan with this district in conjunction with the board. And really, that doesn't only have to apply to provisional districts. If any district of mine wants a growth plan, let's sit down and make one. And then, there's one thing I started doing this past year was a monthly district meeting in which all of my districts could invite anyone really from their district leadership, from their district board and their DAs, and we would come together once a month and just talk about what's going on in their districts and what's going well and what's maybe not going so well. And what I noticed is that, districts were able to feed off of each other. And if District A was struggling with something, District B or District C would know or have a solution for them and vice versa. So that's something I look forward to continuing as well. Let's use each other, right? Districts use districts, and let's grow together.
And final question, how do you plan to help create an equitable and inclusive atmosphere for all members of CKI?
Absolutely. So I think there needs to be more work done to get our membership benefits from the top all the
That's
way
time.
down to the bottom member. Unlucky.
Thank you, Pri. Thank you to all of the candidates. You all did a great job. Delegates, please remember we will have a chance to meet with these candidates and hear from them at the International Convention during district caucusing. If you are attending, please come ready with your questions. As we look to adjourn the session, I need to make a quick but very important announcement about the House of Delegates session that takes place on July 5th, so next week at International Convention. It is very important to know whether you're eligible and officially registered to be a delegate. All delegates must be registered attendees at convention in order to vote. After the session, please feel free to stay on the call to meet with Katie and I. If you're not sure if you're registered or if you have any questions about being certified, then stop by too. This is your last chance and we need you to share your voice this week, so don't miss out. I now will be accepting a motion to adjourn the Caucus of the Whole for 2024. Do I have a motion?
I motion to adjourn the Caucus of the Whole, Jose Mendez from Florida International University. Please end this so I can eat dinner.
Do we have a second?
I, Taylor DeSico from the University of Alabama, second.
Awesome. The Caucus of the Whole stands adjourned, and I will see you all next week. Thank you for attending. Have a great night.